In a world in crisis, can three idiots find hope in the darkest of places? Will love conquer all, or will hate win out in the end? This is a show called Hate.
Hello and welcome to a show called Hate, a podcast where we explore love, hate and everything in between in search of closure and perhaps a little perspective. I'm Lucy.
I'm Ali. And I'm Liz.
Yes, I did it!
Yay! Well done.
Yeah, I probably should have written that down. But yes, hello. It is a very, very, very special day, or at least it will be when this podcast is released. Hoping we haven't mucked up John's scheduling too much. It is International Men's Day.
Yay! The day that no one asked for.
So we thought in honour of this very special day, it was only fair that we give the guys the night off and do the podcast ourselves. Mm-hmm. So they can just stay at home and have their feet up and we'll do all the hard work. If you've not listened to this podcast before, let me see if I can remember how to describe how this works. Each of us brings a love and hate to the table for the entertainment and discussion of the group. Mm-hmm. And we finish the day with finding out which one won, love or hate.
I'm going to guess right now it's going to be hate.
I feel like we're a lot more loving than the boys.
Yeah,
that's true.
I'm not sure anyone's keeping a tally of like loves versus hates in different episodes, so I don't know, maybe we should start. Like, we need to bring some organisation to this entire endeavour.
Whip it into shape.
So, as is always said on this podcast, format is Queen. So, who's got a hate to bring to the table?
Well, I think we all do.
Who's going first?
I don't mind going first.
Cool.
Kick things off.
Off you go, Ali.
So, my hate relates to a man who shall not be named. But a significant man in my life. See if you can guess who.
Is it your dad?
No, it's not my dad. I'm just going to say it's Nick.
Oh, see, here's me thinking
surprise.
it was your secret brother.
Yeah. No, he's perfect. He does nothing wrong. No, I actually found it quite hard to think of something that I hate that Nick does. And hate's probably a strong word, but it's just something that he does. And whenever he does it, which is every day, I think, why? Why are you doing it this way? Why are you making life harder for yourself? So the hate is that Nick has to take medication every evening. He has a condition called ulcerative colitis that I don't think he would mind me
I'm pretty sure he's discussed it at length on this very podcast.
Yes, I wouldn't know because I don't listen.
I can tell you that there is a lot of discussion of poop.
Okay, right. Maybe I should listen. That sounds great. Every evening he takes 8 tablets and they're all quite large. They're like the capsule tablets. They're like that plasticky kind of capsule that's like half and half. And
with like powdery stuff in the middle.
Yeah. And he has to take 8 of those and he puts them all in his fist, shoves them in his gob, all of them, and then takes a bit of water and
Such a boy thing to do.
And most of the time it's okay, but sometimes it backfires. And I'm like, why don't you take 2, take a little sip, take another 2, take a little sip. But sometimes what will happen is they'll get stuck in his throat, and of course they disintegrate with like your saliva, and then he'll like, it's like the cinnamon challenge. He like does a little cough, and like all this green like this green like powder like comes out of his mouth,
and it has to be green. It's like of course it's green.
Yeah, it's like Shrek green powder, and it like fills the air, and he's like choking on it.
But if he breathes in fast enough, he'll get it back in.
Yeah, but he's like got asthma. So.
He's probably done it because he can imagine you saying, "Why, Nick? Why?" And then he's like, "Oh," and then can't swallow them.
It's not like it's important medication or anything that stops him from like functioning as a human being. Like that just really annoys me. It's just one of those boy things that it's just quicker. You know, it's just easier if I just put them all down in one. It's like, but Why?
Yeah,
Why
it's like
not?
it's the less haste, more speed kind of thing.
Yes.
Like if you weren't in such a hurry, it would probably be over quicker.
Exactly, yeah. Instead of spending 10 minutes coughing your lungs out with this horrible green powder.
So Chris takes tablets without water.
What?
He'll just swallow them, which is fine if they're tiny.
Yeah.
But like paracetamols and stuff taste disgusting.
Yeah. And if they get stuck in your throat, they are stuck there like all day. And there's one time when Nick had the genius idea of, instead of taking his tablets with some water, I think he'd forgotten to take them the night before, so he's taking them in the morning. I know what I'll do, he thought. I'll take them with my cereal. So he shoved all of his tablets in his mouth, put a bit of cereal from his spoon in his mouth, and then proceeded to, of course, chew down on the tablets.
No, that was never going to work.
And they all burst in his mouth. And he was like, "Oh, I forgot I have to chew cereal, so that didn't work."
Well, to be fair, like I'm not thinking that straight first thing in the morning. Like I think I would probably forget that I had to chew cereal if I was the kind of person who ate a lot of cereal.
But I mean, even if he just like spooned a bit of milk into the spoon and avoided the Cheerios, taking tablets with milk, I mean, that just seems a bit wrong.
Yeah.
It's got to be water, surely.
I had to take a fair amount of medication as a kid because I was a sickly child. And I got pretty good at taking tablets, but I still can't do it without any kind of water whatsoever. Like, I still just need at least like a swig of tea or something just to get everything lubricated.
Yeah, and why not?
Yeah.
Why not make sure it's going to get from your mouth to your stomach?
And also, I feel like there's some sort of human instinct to not swallow a lump of something dry.
Yes.
Because humans are, we've got weird throats. We're quite prone to choking and stuff and like putting things in our lungs that shouldn't be in our lungs. You need that like extra filling to kind of make sure it's going down. Oh, that is, okay. I agree. That seems weird to me.
Yeah.
Don't cut corners when you take your medication.
I think that's going to be a general theme about the guys.
Cutting corners.
Cutting corners.
I feel like this is a segue into
This is actually a nice segue going on. That could be the shortest take that there's ever been on this podcast.
I mean, it's not really up for discussion, is it? Like, take your tablets with water. End of discussion.
Well, remember dissolvable paracetamol? That was the grossest thing ever.
Yeah.
I used to hold my nose and chuck it back.
Oh,
It was so gross.
it's the worst.
It does because it tastes like chalk and it never completely dissolves. Like
No.
there's something else in those tablets that clearly isn't the paracetamol.
Yeah.
And it doesn't dissolve. So why have you put it in a soluble tablet?
Ugh,
Like
rank.
people who take, what's the orange?
Like Barocca.
Barocca.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
I'm like-
sponsored.
Please don't sponsor.
Other hangover cures are available.
That is a completely different message to what this podcast is usually.
Why would you take something like that as an adult? Like,
As an adult, what? Children? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hangover cure.
Soluble paracetamol, you kind of did it because you couldn't swallow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I guess there are some
now you're
people
an
that don't
adult.
like taking tablets. Like they have like a reflex or something.
It can be good if you've got trouble swallowing as well.
Yeah.
Like if you've got, like my uncle has a condition that makes it hard for him to swallow. So
Yeah.
he has to like drink with every mouthful of food,
Yeah.
basically. So
So that's forgiven.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you can take tablets, just do that.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to taste them quite so much either. If they're just like a solid thing, just swallow it down.
Yeah, down
yeah,
the
like
line.
soluble paracetamol. God, yeah. Ugh.
The
I
worst.
remember my mum trying to get me to take paracetamol as a kid, like a half paracetamol smushed up in jam. So she she put the paracetamol between. I'm doing like an action with my hands here. Which is really but she put the half a paracetamol between two spoons, like 2 teaspoons, and squish them together so that the paracetamol would turn to powder. And then she'd mix it up with jam.
That's what I do with
make me-
dumpling.
But again, like this strikes me as weird thinking back because, like I said, I had to take a fair amount of medication as a kid, so I was actually okay at swallowing tablets. I think it was the half tablet because then it's got like a harsh edge to it. Why don't they just make kid doses of tablets
Yeah.
so that it's a smooth thing?
Well, this could be our next big punch
Yeah,
venture.
kids tablets.
Kid tablets.
Big punch tablets.
Yeah, we've done comics, we've done games. Now we're moving into pharmaceuticals.
Tiny
It's the next-
it's the next
clear,
logical
yeah.
progression. Like, yeah, sure, whatever.
So, Liz.
Yes.
So, cutting corners.
Aha, yes.
Well, I guess the real title is Chris cannot do DIY. Sorry, it just spoilt the fact that I'm talking. He cannot do DIY, and I know you two have very handy husbands who can do DIY. But Chris cannot. So at the weekend, we painted our bathroom because it was first painted without bathroom paint and all went mouldy.
Oh, great. Yeah.
We've not even been in a year yet, and so we've been discussing it for a while. And yeah,
you need to take your time discussing the black mold. You know, it, by the time it gets to black mold stage, it's got rights and privileges, and probably can vote and stuff. So.
Exactly. And so we go and buy some paint, and we're like, okay, it's a rainy day, let's do it. And he's, already got the paint on the brush ready to go on the wall. And I'm like, hang on a minute, we need to get this mould off for us.
He's going to paint over the wall.
Yeah, he was like, no, we'll just paint over it.
No. It'll just grow behind the paint, surely. And it's like you'll end up with a layer. Like you'll get a nice padded layer. There'll be a nice spring to the wall eventually.
It'll keep growing. It'll be like, ooh.
So what did you say to him?
So we did clean the wall.
Okay.
Well, I am probably not very tactful with things like this. So I'm like, are you kidding?
I feel like maybe you need to be at times. Like, you just gotta speak your mind.
Exactly. Thanks, Lise. So yes, we did clean the wall and then we painted the wall. But again, like he has to slap the paint on. So our whole bathroom's covered in paint. So then we have to go around cleaning up all the paint. Whereas I'm like, you literally just need a little bit on the brush and we can do this.
Is he doing it badly on purpose so that in the future you don't ask him to do it?
Well, I don't know, because he's always like, I'm the man, I'm going to sort this. And then
he asks John to come around with his power tools to put up a shelf.
Exactly. So some of the examples that I had have already been mentioned on this podcast. So, the time that we moved the coat hooks and couldn't work out how to get them off the wall to start off with. And then we drilled some holes in the wall. He couldn't get through the wall, so then we just filled the holes in and got some coat hooks that went over the door.
So you just abandoned that completely.
Yeah. Just generally DIY. Like he painted our banister because when we moved in, it was the week before Christmas, so I put tinsel around the banister, and it stained the banister.
What?
I feel like you had shoddy tinsel there. Like tinsel shouldn't be leaving marks.
It was several years old. And Chris was like, oh yeah, I'll paint the banister. I'll do something good.
I mean, how hard can that be?
Exactly. Yeah. But he didn't sand it down or anything. So then he painted it and it just started curling back up.
Oh no. So now you've got a half-painted banister. That's all flaky.
It's all peeled off now. So we're back to the red-stained banister.
No. To be fair, I don't know what they used in older gloss paints, but the banister in this very house, which I believe was last decorated in sort of like the late 70s, possibly somewhere, was just like, we cannot get stuff to stick to it. Like, we have repainted that banister so many times, it seems. And we've had to like sand all the way through to like wood to get bits of it to stick. It's just, what on earth did they put in that paint?
Are you defending Chris?
Yeah,
Lucy?
I was just about to say.
Your house is a lot more modern than this one. You're on the lovely second house. We're on the first house that was a bit grotty. It's like, I'm assuming your house was decorated somewhere this century before you moved in.
Well,
possibly.
I don't know about the banister. Well, it's 1930s house.
Okay. So
the living room's been done within the last 5 years, but I think the rest of it is pretty old.
So there's no excuse.
But you still, basically, you can make it stick eventually, but you do just have to sand through like 14 layers of lead-based toxins first.
Is there any skill to DIY? Is it just a case of if you're patient enough and you do your research as to what paint you need, anyone can do it? Or is there actually a skill?
I think there's probably a level that you can do yourself. Like, I'm not sure I'd trust myself to figure out how to put it in a second staircase or something.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's quite structurally important. But like putting up a shelf or painting a banister.
Yeah, I think maybe it's just important to start from the point of view of, I can do this. It's like, other humans have done this, so I should be able to do this.
Yes, in theory.
Yeah. How have other humans done it is the next step, I guess. Yeah. And maybe that's the step people
YouTube.
Skip. Yeah. Yes. YouTube, yeah. I YouTubed so much out of our boiler when our boiler was playing up when we first moved in. It's just like, right, look, this particular boiler has a whole series of YouTube videos about how to fix basic troubleshooting stuff.
Would Chris dare to look up help?
No.
Is it like asking for directions? It's like, I will figure this out myself.
No, he cannot. I'm like, why don't you look this up on YouTube? No, he can't do it.
Does he not read instructions either?
No. Well, we did get when we first moved in, we've got like a bathroom cabinet, one of these which goes like around the sink, around the bottom of the sink. Oh my God. I think it cost us like 15 quid, this bathroom cabinet, and it took 2 of us 3 hours to put it together.
How many glasses of wine were involved?
He just was cracking on. He was like, clearly this goes here. I'm like, no, let's check we have the pieces and then let's just follow it step by step.
Yeah, I think that's why I end up doing a lot of the IKEA building in this house. And a lot of this house is sponsored by IKEA.
But not this podcast.
Yeah, not this podcast, but the house is definitely sponsored by IKEA. But yeah, it's just, they are easy because loads of people seem to get angry about IKEA flat pack furniture.
Yeah, it's
and
not
I'm just
that
like,
hard.
it's really not. Like, you just get everything out of the box and you go, right, have I got all the things? And yes, start up step 1. Good. Continue.
Yeah. See, I do tend to throw away the instructions for IKEA. I see it like, I don't need the instructions. Like, with something like DIY, it's like, I don't have everything I need. I need to check what I need.
Mm-hmm.
But IKEA, I know everything I need's in this box. So it's almost like a little puzzle. Like, ooh, how many different things can I make from this before I come across the correct arrangement of pieces?
I was like, even following the instructions, I managed to we've got a bunch of Kallax boxes under our stairs now, which are just literally cubes with doors that you can stick to the front of them. And even following the instructions, I managed to put some of those together the wrong way round. It's got 4 sides. How many wrong way rounds can there be?
Make a square.
Yeah.
So maybe we're sympathetic to Chris, do you think?
I feel like if he knows he has a weakness in this area of the
think
DIY-ness, he should maybe put more effort into fixing
Oh, yeah.
his
Is he
weakness.
aware that he's bad? That's the question.
Well,
Does he think he's great?
I think
How
he knows
aware have you
secretly
made him that
that
you-
I've made him quite aware. I think he's quite annoyed with me. But I think it's one of those things, like, you assume a man can do things like this, stereotypically. But then I think back and I'm like, no, my mum did all the DIY. My dad was hopeless as well.
I think that's definitely like, I guess in my household, my mum was the designer of like the pair in my household. She would draw plans up. She'd do proper like scale drawings of things she wanted. And then my dad is by profession a metal worker and woodworker. So it's
The
kind
perfect
of,
pairing.
yeah, it's kind of obvious that
Yeah.
he just, he made us a rocking horse.
Wow.
Because he just wanted one. He made us a rocking horse as kids. He just does that sort of thing.
That's very cool. See, Nick and I think are quite well suited because I will race in and do and try something, and then Nick will come in and
Fix
clear
it.
up. Yeah, fix it up afterwards. It's like when I was trying to cut a square out of the worktop for our sink because we fitted our own kitchen, which was an experience. And I just completely just went on the wonk, and we had this massive hole, and the sink basically went through the hole.
Oh, no.
So we had to get a whole new piece of worktop.
Oh, no.
And Nick was like, "Why don't you let me do this one?" I was like, "Okay."
So you're the Chris.
I am the Chris. Yeah, and painting, I know I should sand it first, but yeah, but but we're talking about men.
Yes.
So I'm not up for criticism in this.
I got a bunch of men to fit my kitchen for me. So
That's very wise.
Yeah. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
We've just planned for somebody to come in and finally fix our radiators because we're not going to touch them.
oh god, yeah.
Oh, see, I fixed my own radiator.
Did
And then
you?
it did leak
Check
for
it
about
out.
2 months until a plumber came around. And I was like, "Can you take a look at this? It's been dripping. Every day we have to replace the cup that's underneath it."
Well, I did fix our the shower doors are on a runner and they were broken when we moved in, and I fixed them.
Nice.
Lovely.
And I fixed the toilet flush myself.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So I'm quite handy.
Yeah, well done.
I'm just so disappointed that Christopher is not.
I'm sure he has his strengths, though.
He does.
Do you still have that TV cabinet that's like a chest of drawers with the top sawn off?
Yes.
Again, he bought John's power tools. He borrowed John's power tools to do that.
So
How would you describe it? I mean, it literally
So
is the
it's-
chest of drawers with the top sawn off, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's a chest of drawers. So it's three drawers, and the bottom two have got DVDs or Blu-rays in
Yeah.
and stuff. And then obviously we needed somewhere. So it all came about because Chris and I kept getting stiff necks from looking down at the TV, because a standard kind of TV stand is quite low. So we were like, we need something taller.
Yeah.
And so this is obviously taller, but then you need somewhere to put your digibox or whatever. So the top drawer, we took the front off of it, but then it looked dodgy because you had like the runners and stuff.
Yeah.
And so then he stuck an end. I don't know how to describe this.
He cut the middle, like, sort of 6/8 out of the middle of the front of the drawer.
Yeah.
And then stuck the two ends back onto
So,
the
so it like covered the runners and stuff, and we can still put our digibox in there and the Wi-Fi and stuff. And then obviously
it's innovative. I'll give him that.
Yeah. So then obviously the leads had to go through. So they've now got to go through the back of the drawer and the back of the
cabinet,
outside. Yeah. And so borrowed John's circular drill. Oh, he loved that. That was the best day of his life.
I feel like you found a hole in the market for like taller TV cabinets.
Yes,
you should tell this to IKEA. They might make it like legit.
I did see, like, again, because I spend a lot of time browsing IKEA, they've now started doing TV cabinets where there's like a painting that you can pull across the front of the TV.
What?
Because apparently this is now like one of the principles. I'm going to mispronounce this now, so apologies to anyone who happens to be listening from Denmark. This is now one of the principles of hygge, which is like the Danish internal decoration and coziness principle. That you shouldn't see electronics. So you should never, you should always be able to cover up your electronics so that you're not distracted by them.
I see.
So IKEA
but that's what they're there for.
Yeah, I'm like, the whole point of having the TV is to stop me thinking. So
And the whole point of a remote is so when I sit down on the sofa, I don't then have to get up to switch channels. But if I have to get up to like take the painting off the telly, it's like, oh.
But then I've seen now that there's a TV that's come out that when you turn it off, it displays a piece of artwork rather than being off.
Right.
So it goes into some sort of like low power mode that just shows a single, like a slide of a classic painting.
A bit like, is it like e-ink that e-readers use, you know, so it's like hardly using any power.
I have no idea. I've heard it's apparently like as much power as it being off.
Oh.
But I don't know what. I'm like, I don't know, there's something feels wrong about that. Like that feels a bit like dystopian Big Brothery. Like I can't turn the TV off.
And is that drawing more attention to the TV than if it was just a black screen?
And do I have to like, what if I get bored of the art? Do I get to cycle it? Or do I have to pick a single piece of art?
You have to buy a new TV.
I've changed the colour scheme in my living room.
I need an entirely new telly, one that shows a Van Gogh rather than a Kandinsky.
A TV's a TV.
Yeah.
Let's just accept it.
Yeah. It's a magic box that goes bing in the corner.
Yeah.
And they're not even boxes anymore, they're like just sheets of glass.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
But yeah, no, I applaud Chris's entertaining attempts to be a man.
Yeah. I appreciate the enthusiasm.
Yes.
It's charming. It's adorable.
I can see why it would be annoying if you're the one who's having to run around like fixing the issues.
I mean,
afterwards.
my eyes are so tired from all the rolling.
Would you like some water for your paracetamol to ease that pain?
The amount of tutting I have to do, it's exhausting.
Oh dear. Someone's got to though.
Oh.
You see?
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, speaking of tutting, if we're going to try for the whole sort of smooth segues thing.
Can we do a full circle of segues?
Ooh, let's see. I have a little audio thing here, which is going to kind of illustrate my hate. And my hate is this noise.
What is that?
Is it a kazoo?
John does this thing where he makes this little kind of kazooey noise with his nose and mouth in like the back of his throat. And I don't think he even realises he's doing it a lot of the time. And it is so loud and so nails on a chalkboard bawdy to me. And it's just, yeah, it frustrates the hell out of me.
How often does he do this?
Well, less often than he used to. I definitely turned a corner when I started just reaching over and holding his nose whenever he made the noise, because he doesn't seem to be able to make the noise while his nose is blocked.
Okay.
So,
He just passes out after a while.
So yeah, definitely like kind of it's got less in more recent years and months, but it's the volume of it. Like, I mean, John's got a large head. This has been discussed before. Like, just a physically large head.
He has.
But it clearly creates such a magnificent resonance chamber or something. Because
it's not full with brains.
No,
it's just an echo chamber.
It's like St. Paul's Cathedral in there. It's just like it bounces around and it somehow comes out in all directions at like a greatly increased volume to what should be possible for just making a little hummy noise through your nose.
We used to live together, and
Yeah.
I remember John making that noise quite often.
Yeah.
He would.
Is it
he
like a
would-
thinking noise then?
Yeah, I don't think he even knows he's making it a lot of the time. He's just sort of
Okay.
making a noise. He's now more recently switched to whistling instead, which is confusing the hell out of the cat. Because I'm pretty sure the cat thinks its name is a whistle.
Because whistling is a pet peeve for a lot of people,
Yeah.
isn't it? But that's
Whistling
better.
doesn't bother me quite so much,
Okay.
and it's kind of entertaining that the cat thinks every time John whistles it means food,
Oh.
regardless of what he's whistling. But yeah, it's there isn't much that annoys me about John, but that definitely does, and always kind of has done. And
So,
yeah.
does anybody at work like make noises that annoy you as well, or is it just that it's John?
No, I mean, you always notice people who have like weird vocal tics. You know, someone who
Yeah.
uses exactly the same phrase over and over again as a form of punctuation rather than actually what that phrase
Yeah.
means. We all do that.
It's almost
here and
like
there.
literally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's someone at work who uses the phrase in terms of all the time, regardless of what the next sentence. It's a thinking noise, as you said.
Yeah.
It's like they're not actually saying anything in terms of anything else. They're just filling the gap until
Yeah.
the next logical noise can come out of their face. And but yeah, no, I can't say there's much else. But then other people have annoyed me with little mouth noises in the past. Like people I lived with at university would make annoying little like tutting noises, or there was one chap I knew who used to just like make a squealing noise like a fire alarm or something.
What?
I don't even know if he knew he was doing it.
Can you like give us a demonstration?
I don't want to blow the mic. But no, it was literally, it sounded like a fire alarm. It was like a sort of, and he'd just do that, like completely at random.
Yeah, that would be annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you'd just be like, yeah, what's wrong? And he's like, what? Okay, fine, I guess that's fine then.
What? That's quite extreme.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Is it a more general man thing? Do men make louder, annoying noises because they're just like?
Is this limited to from their mouths? Because Nick makes some quite amazing sounds from his butt. Not as high pitched, but equally as offensive.
So I hum quite a lot. That must be annoying.
Do you
I
hum
should stop doing
tunes, or do you just sort of go
Tunes.
"Mm"?
No, tunes.
I do hum to myself. I think it comes from growing up in quite a musical household where my dad would just start singing sometimes. So would my mum. That was just a thing. My dad has sung along to the reversing signals on trucks before. I've been walking down. I've been walking down the street with him and suddenly realised he's going doo doo doo.
Is he like, oh, that's a D sharp?
Thing is, he could do that. I don't know if he
Really?
ever has, but he could.
This
Wow.
vehicle is reversible. Do-do-do-do-do.
But so yeah, I know I do hum, and it's probably quite annoying. If I've got my headphones on, I will find myself singing along, and then realise, of course, nobody else can hear what I'm singing along to. So it just sounds like me singing slightly out of tune or something because I can't hear myself. But yeah, so I imagine this is something that everyone does and everything, but that particular noise is so very specifically John. I've never heard anyone else make that noise or anything like it.
Is it fate's such a cruel mistress that
Yeah.
you found your one and you married him and you're destined to be together, but he's also the one person in the world that makes the noise that really annoys you.
I mean, nobody's perfect. I think if that's the only thing he's got going against him, I can live with it. And I do live with it.
For now.
Until I can figure out a way of completely blocking his nose permanently. But yeah, that's my hate. And I was intending to make it more general, but I thought if I'm literally playing the opening titles to Nich and John Is This Evangelion, it was pretty obvious who the noise was.
Yeah, we've all been quite overt with that.
Yeah. That whole thing keeping it anonymous didn't last very long.
No.
Sorry, guys. I know John's going to have to listen to this while he's editing it, and I could just imagine him weeping at the table. I would edit it, but he uses Audition, and I have no idea how that works.
Will he be weeping or will he be making that noise?
He might just sit there making that noise just
As
to annoy me.
revenge.
Yeah.
Over what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm expecting that next episode we basically. It's all reversed. I'm sure I make some noise that irritates the hell out of him. I know he gets annoyed by the fact that I leave my keys and my phone in a different place every single time I move around the house.
I've definitely
I do
heard
that,
that on one of their podcasts.
I put things down in places. That's what places are for, to put things down in.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm with you on that.
But yeah.
Well, I think they've got off quite lightly. I think we've been quite
I
nice.
think we've been all right.
Yeah.
I hear that we have some listener hates.
Yes. I reached
From
out to
one
my sister.
particularly irritable listener.
Yes. I reached out to my sister because I was like, "Oh, you have had men experiences. Tell me your gripes."
How awkward is that to say of your 7-year younger sister?
Yeah. So I mean, some of these are quite general, and some of these I actually don't agree with. But I'm just gonna
Go for
read
it.
them
Let's
out.
bring them to the
Feel
table.
free to interrupt with your own thoughts and opinions as I go. So she says, "I hate that men are assertive where women are nags or bitches."
Yeah.
Now I agree with this.
Yeah.
Now that isn't really a problem with men. That's just a problem with how some people react differently from men to women.
Yeah.
So yeah, if a woman's being assertive, as she says, it's just seen as being like a bossy bitch.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm quite lucky in that this is usually a workplace thing, isn't it? Where it's if your manager's a woman, she's being bossy. If your manager's a man, he's being demanding or something.
Yeah.
He's just expecting a lot of
Yes.
you. I've personally never really experienced it, although I've heard from people who have. But maybe that's because I'm the bossy one. There's that old thing of if you don't know who the annoying one is in your office, it's you.
I've never heard that. Oh, it's definitely me. Yeah. So I mean, that's more of a problem with society.
Yeah. Down with the patriarchy. I mean, that's what this is all about, right?
Yeah.
No, it's International Men's Day. We're celebrating the men.
Yeah. Patriarchy for now.
Yeah.
No, this is the hate section. We
Oh, yeah,
can
that's
hate
true,
on
yeah.
them right now.
That is very true. Oh, I've just remembered a hate of mine. I'm
Okay,
completely speaking out of turn now.
Oh, go for it. Why not?
But pockets.
Oh, I think I did pockets.
lack.
The first time
you
I was
did.
on this
Yeah.
podcast, my hate was women's pockets.
Yeah. Or the lack
Yeah,
thereof.
I hate them.
That is
still.
a result of the patriarchy,
Yeah.
man. So men design women's clothing.
Yeah.
And they don't put pockets in them so
Yeah.
that we have to buy bags, which means that the taxpayers, we're paying more money basically to have pockets because we're buying trousers and we're buying bags. And then men are like, "Oh, can you carry my wallet? Can you carry my keys? Because you've got that big bag." And it's like, well, if you design my clothes properly,
I
then,
basically I have a personal
carry
rule
your
now.
own stuff.
A personal rule now. I will not buy any dress or skirt that doesn't have pockets in it anymore.
Good for you.
I have some that don't have pockets in because I'm not the kind of person who changes my clothes very often. They're getting quite old. But I just won't anymore. It's it's not worth my time.
It's time to take a stand.
Yeah, I need pockets.
21st century.
Yeah, I have a smartphone. This does not fit in the. I'm holding up my smartphone now, listeners. This does not fit in the pockets of the trousers I'm currently wearing. Like any of them, the back pockets, the front pockets. My own fingers barely fit in the front pockets of the trousers I'm currently wearing.
I think the 90s had it sorted when they had those big baggy cargo
yeah.
pants and they had 50 pockets on them.
Hell yeah.
We need to bring those back into fashion.
I remember having a friend who had a pair of those giant jeans. And she was showing off that she could fit an entire Yellow Pages inside one of the pockets.
useful.
Her trousers are around her ankles, but
Yeah.
Right, my sister's next comment uses emojis, which I will enact with my hands.
Oh dear, that's going to be great for an audio medium.
She says, I feel like a man's idea of a clean bathroom just isn't good enough. And she claps between each word.
I think I have to disagree there.
I have to disagree as well, because Nick is much more cleanly than I am.
John has cleaned the bathroom at least 10 more times than I have since we've been in this house.
no, I'm definitely the bathroom cleaner.
Yeah.
Well, I said to Chris when I moved in with him, I don't mind doing the cleaning and doing the bathroom and stuff, but you put the bins out and you clear up the dog poo. They are the men's job.
That seems
That's
like a fair division of
I mean,
labour
he
to me.
never puts the bin out.
Ah.
He definitely does do all the dog poo. But
Hence why you're living amongst year-old refuse. Bits have never been put out.
no, I do put I make him put the recycling out because like slugs and stuff get in the recycling box and I don't want to go in there.
No, I have to say I disagree. John is the clean one of the pair of us. I'm kind of slightly ashamed to admit it. That usually by the time I notice something's dirty, it's already driving John completely up the wall. Like, it's like he calls it nesting. Like I nest. I just cover any space that I spend any time in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I found the main solution to this is to not have too much stuff, if at all possible. So I try to minimise the amount of stuff that I have, and then I can't nest with it.
But when we both lived together, the four of us, we both had our little corners of the sofas on opposite sides of the room, didn't we?
Yeah.
We would just kind of surround ourselves in various objets.
Yeah.
And like once a month we kind of do like an audit and be
just
like,
had-
right,
yeah.
this can go away now.
You just had like a vase of paintbrushes, I seem to remember.
Yes. Yeah. Never painted.
It was very artfully arranged vase of paintbrushes. It was very nice.
I don't think I could live with you two.
No, I can barely live with myself. Right, her next gripe is, again, more of a societal gripe. She says, I hate when men get cheaper razors and toiletries when they're all the same.
This is pink tax.
Yeah, she says, I don't want a stupid,
Yeah.
pretty pink razor.
Yeah, no, this is. I think
I didn't
this
even
is
know
also.
this.
Yeah,
I've
no.
never compared it.
If you buy the men's versions of things, it tends to be cheaper.
Yeah,
than
which is blue
women's.
instead of pink.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a razor. It doesn't change its
Yeah.
function because of what colour it is.
But they're
Can
about
we use the
20p
men's
cheaper.
ones? We should do that.
Can we
yeah.
use them?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
I've got like men's disposable razors in the bathroom.
Yeah.
I just
Do you?
buy-
Yeah,
never
only
even
the
thought about
weekend.
it.
Yeah, only the weekend I bought a pack of men's razors.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, maybe I'll
exactly the
start doing
same.
that.
It is
Yeah.
so dumb, and like I guess the only reason even deodorants are cheaper, I seem to remember, but
Yeah.
obviously they have to be kind of formulated
It
slightly
might be
differently,
slightly different.
and
Yeah.
I don't really want to smell like a man, like in myself. Like it's just like personal preference.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so that's everyone agrees.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stupid
That
pink
is
tax.
very
Yeah.
stupid.
And then finally, I hate it when men have a cold and they think that man flu is a real term. We all
Yes. I feel like this might have been said by the boys before.
Yeah, she says, we all know it's a term that was created because it's an excuse. Like, if you have the flu genuinely, just say you have the flu.
Yeah.
If you have man flu, don't say you've got man flu, then that's admitting
It's like
that you-
saying I'm faking it.
I think it's often it takes away slightly from what like flu actually is
Yeah.
as well. Like you get so many people who like don't, again, I'm going to go on my pro-vaccination course here. Like if you need it and if you're in an at-risk group, you should get your flu vaccination because flu can kill you.
Yes.
It's not going to generally kill you if you're a healthy individual, but if you have anything that makes you weaker to it, it's a bad thing to get.
Yeah, like
And
it's a
calling,
really serious illness.
Yeah, and calling like a cold the man flu, I think just contributes to people underestimating what flu can actually do to people.
because I think I've only had flu once or twice in my life, like
Yeah.
proper flu. I've had really bad colds,
It
but the flu
incapacitates
is
you. Like
yeah.
you can't move.
No.
It stops every muscle in your body moving properly. You just ache all over.
Yeah,
Like,
and it kind of ties in with the man up thing as well, which I really hate. The
yeah.
toxic masculinity, like, oh, just man up and deal with it. It's that thing. It's like, if you have the flu, just admit you have the flu.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing wrong with having the flu, whether you're whatever gender you are.
Yeah.
So
I do feel though that maybe men are more likely, this might just be my personal experience, men are more likely to take time off work if they're ill than women
really?
are. It seems to me like more women come into my workplace with a cold than men come into my workplace with a cold, but more men are off
Really?
sick more often.
Chris is never off sick.
Is that because he's never sick, or does he just never take time off?
Both, I think. He's hardly ever sick. But yeah, he normally goes in. But then I have a theory that his job is not as stressful as mine.
Also, he works in an office with 2 other people, so it's not like he's risking the health of a lot of other people in the office. But no, it's like I don't like it when a workmate of mine comes in clearly ill, because I'm like, I do not want to catch whatever you've got. We work in an open office. It's not like you're squirreled away somewhere.
And they probably won't be very productive either.
No, but then I'm just as bad, really, because I'm like, if I take one day off sick, I feel massively guilty and have to like work from home or something the next day to make up for it instead. Like,
well, the thing is with that, because when I was at a different job, they said don't come in if you're sick. But the thing is nobody covers your work.
Yeah.
So you're just putting yourself under more pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the issue with that.
I think I was always kind of lucky when I was working in education. I somehow always managed to get ill during the holidays. So I took like one sick day over the 8 years I worked in education.
That's good.
But now that I'm actually now having to work like a normal person, I've actually had to take sick days, and the guilt is immense. And I just want to go back to work, but not because I'm like, I want to go back to work. I'm like, because I'm scared of I'm
like
leaving
piling up.
undone, and like what other people are having to cover for me and stuff. But yeah, so man flu is annoying for many reasons.
Yeah.
Can I add a little micro hate?
Yeah.
Please do.
About guys. They can only go in straight lines.
What? What do you mean? What, on foot?
Yes. So from working in the industry, in bars and kitchens and stuff, women can like quickly dash around, and with like netball, like if you ever play against any guys, women dart round and they take corners and things. Guys just go straight, and if you're in the way, then you'll get bashed through.
No, I totally agree with you, because the amount of times that I'm like, I walk quite fast in general, because usually I want to get where I'm going, and the amount of times I'm stuck behind some dude who's somehow managing to take up the entire pavement and is just mindlessly walking completely straight forward. It's like, just move over so that I don't have to walk in the road to go around you, because I'm walking at like 4 miles an hour and you're walking at 1. But no, I totally agree. It's just this kind of like blind, mindless, I'm going this way, everybody else will get out of my way. And I know, again, they probably don't even know they're doing it because other people move out of their way.
It's the patriarchy.
Yeah.
I'm a man, I can walk where I want. No, I don't really believe that. I don't know. I haven't really noticed that, but I will be looking out for it now that you've said it. But there is one thing that Nick does that really annoys me. If we're walking through crowds, very specifically at MCM Comic Con, it's especially noticeable. He will always dart through the tiniest little gaps between people. He's really lithe, he's really nimble, he's making really good headway. He's, and then there's me, sort of, the gap's closed now, so now I've got to kind of go around this way. And then now he's 2 meters ahead and he's found another little gap to squeeze through, and now that's closed. And so then he'll look behind him and I'm like 10 meters behind. He's like, come on, what's taking so long? It's really annoying. And then sometimes I will like purposefully like race ahead of him, and I'll look behind like, yeah, I bet he's right behind me.
I do find that I have like a Comic-Con radar that I've developed now, where you almost go into this sort of fugue state where it's just like you're watching for the gaps everywhere, and it's just go towards. It doesn't matter where I'm actually trying to get. I just go towards the gaps. I will get wherever quicker if I'm going through the gaps.
It's a bit like being Neo in the Matrix. You kind of start like analysing the crowd, and it's like
it just turns into numbers.
Yeah, I can bend space time and like move through these crowds. I hadn't noticed that men walk in straight lines.
Oh, you will now.
Yeah, I see it even just like walking to work in the morning, because I pass, when you walk to work the same time every day, you pass exactly the same people every day. The women with the dogs will go around me. The blokes with the dogs, their dogs that go around me.
Oh,
the guys just keep walking.
Yeah. Well, obviously, when you're serving behind a bar and everybody's just trying to, you got a little space, everybody's just trying to get past each other. And the amount of times a guy is like bashed into me and drinks gone everywhere, and I don't do it again. And things like that.
This sounds like absolute chaos.
I mean, it's a bar.
Yeah. I'm just imagining getting home and Nick's going to be like, you know, like in video games when characters just jitter into the wall and like like Nick's going to be like walking into the kitchen wall and I'll have to like turn him around, set him going off in a different direction.
Like one of those little robo dogs from the late 90s and just keep going and see. So have we hated out?
I'm out of
Yeah.
hate.
Yeah.
Ali,
Yes.
tell us a love.
So, it's my love is not something that Nick does, but it's something that he has done in the past. It's something he did on one occasion, and I will forever love him for it. Because it was actually
propose.
No, it wasn't. But I do love him for that. It was actually he forgave me for a mistake that I made, and the mistake was so bad. So basically, what happened is, I used to cut Nick's hair, as like a money saving venture. Partly because I've always fancied myself as a bit of a hairdresser based on absolutely nothing. Like I've never cut anyone's hair before. But
Haven't even looked it up on YouTube.
No. But I just kind of look at people's hair. I'm like, yeah, I could do that. I do suffer from that in general. I kind of look at something and be like, yeah, I could do that.
Well, we've got to admire your confidence.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Sometimes it pays
foolishness,
off,
maybe. So I was looking at Nick's hair. I was like, yeah, I can cut your hair. And it went pretty well for like 3 years, not a problem. But there was one time where he was sat in the middle of the kitchen, as we always did, because it was a nice hardwood floor and we could easily sweep it up. And I would use scissors on his hair, but he would always have like wispy bits on his neck. So he had an electric razor, and I would use that to get rid of those wispy bits. And I'd kind of do like a grade sort of 3 on the lower part of his head, like hairline as well, on the back. So I was sort of going at it with the grade 3, getting it nice and short and tidy in the back. And then I took the cap off that makes it grade 3. And so there was no guide on it anymore. It was just the bare razor. Went at the wisps on his neck to get rid of those right down to the skin. And then I went back to his head, forgot to put the guide on. And I shaved a square in the back of his head. It was literally in the middle of the back of his head. This perfect square.
Why did you start there?
I don't know. And I literally touched it to his head. It was like, I was like, oh my God.
Did you try and stick it back on?
Well, it took me about 3 minutes to tell him what I'd done. Because I put the razor down and I picked the scissors back up and I was like, maybe I can like cut it that like hides this, or like, because it was literally down to the scalp, like there was no hair there, it was a bald square.
Oh no.
So maybe he doesn't even need to know, like it's on the back of his head, he's never going to see it. But then I thought, no, he does go to work and someone's probably going to ask why he has a square in the back of his head. So after about 3 minutes,
He's had some very impromptu brain surgery or something.
So after about 3 minutes of like faffing around with scissors, not really cutting his hair, but just standing behind him like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Did you get the mirror out in the back of it?
It's like, so what do you think? Yeah, I was like,
if it was properly centralised, you could have pretended it was like an
a cool
avant-garde
pan.
or something. Like,
yeah, what does it mean?
Yeah, no, we're going to go for a reverse mohawk.
Yes. So, yeah, about 3 minutes later, I just said, Nick, in this voice that I think he immediately was like, what? What is wrong?
With blade in your hand.
Yeah. I was like, I'm really sorry, but I've made a mistake. And then I had to get the mirror, do that double mirror thing, and show him the back of his head, and he handled it really well, I must say. Like,
The screaming only lasted like minutes.
What did he do? Did you have to shave it all?
No, they just had a square in the back of his head.
How long does it take? How does Nick's hair grow particularly
It
fast?
only took about, after 7 days you couldn't really notice it, and then after about 10 days it was completely blended with the rest of his hair. But yeah, it was about a week, and everyone at work did ask him, why have you got a square in the back of your head?
He wears a hat a lot of the time.
He does wear a hat.
That's
and is
probably
this
why.
Yeah. So he handled it so well, and he he's never really held it against me or brought it up again, and he completely forgave me. So that is my love, that he was able to look past that awful error.
And now he goes to a lovely Turkish man in town to get his
Yes.
haircut.
Yes. Partly because we have better paid jobs, but also partly because I can't be trusted. But yes, if anyone does fancy coming to my my salon at home, I charge
Really
very
sold
good rates.
yourself.
Yeah. You may leave with a square in the back of your head, but I
that'll be
think
just
my
like-
rates reflect that.
That's just like a signature.
Yeah,
it's
that's how
how,
you
like-
know it was me.
Yeah, it's like how certain clothes designers put like a coloured button on things. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
you always shave a little square to the back of
Yeah.
someone's head, regardless of what haircut you're giving them. You know.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Let's-
have you not
let's go
done
with
it
that.
since?
I've cut his hair since. He
Okay.
was stupid enough to let me do it again, but I've not made that mistake again. No, I kind of say it out loud now. Like I tell him, I'm taking the guide off. I'm picking up the razor now, just so that he can say to me, like, "Have you put the guide back on?" So yeah, but yeah, he does pay a professional now to cut his hair. I think I did a pretty good job overall, though. Apart from that bit.
Yeah, if you take the like average over the
Yeah.
years that you cut his hair,
Yeah, like 95% approval
Yeah.
rating, I reckon.
Yeah.
So
that's like an A star.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like rather than just being quite good all the time, I was really good most of the time and then really bad that one time. So yes, thank you, Nick, for forgiving me. I love you for it.
So my love is quite general, but it is Chris as well. Gentlemanliness. I know we've been.
It's a good word.
Thank you.
I don't think
I
it
don't
is a
think
word,
it's
but it
real.
should be a word.
But
Is it gentlemanliness or is it gentlemanliness?
Genteelness.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's just a different way of phrasing it.
Yeah, like, you know, sometimes that is passed off as being old-fashioned, traditional and stuff, but I still like it. Holding doors open, offering to help. You know, I may not want help and I'll tell them if I don't want help, but yeah, and buying the drinks and things like that, I still really like.
I definitely like the buying the drinks thing, mostly because I just hate bars. I hate like the actual like the physical bar because I'm short and I find it really hard to get attention at bars.
Well, and you
somehow.
don't drink as well, so
There's that. Yeah.
if you were buying the drinks, that would be very unfair on you.
But also, yeah, if someone asks me for like, I want this, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. I'm just gonna hope if I repeat the sounds that the right drink turns up. But yeah, I definitely agree that I'm very happy to let blokes order bars because they're just built bloke shaped, like they're bloke height.
But there are a lot of people who I don't think are gentlemen, and I think that is wrong.
Oh.
And like at work, obviously I do a lot of, well, not obviously, but I do a lot of manual handling, especially at this time of year. And I sort of, you know, shout over to colleagues and say, can anybody give me a hand with this? And then literally everybody scarpers. Like, literally guys and girls. And always the guys that brag about going to the gym every day, scarper.
Really?
Wow.
And I'm like,
Yeah. I mean, it's like, is that gentlemanliness? Is that common human decency? Like, it's like, if anybody yelled at my office, can I have a hand with this? I'd go and see if I could help.
Yeah.
I mean, I admit that I'm sometimes hampered by being 5'3" and not particularly well built. But I'm working on that. I'm lifting weights. But yeah, I'd go and help. I'd go and see if I could help. And then when I couldn't, I'd find somebody who could. I'd, go and yell at one of the blokes.
See, I'm someone who's like, I'm going to lift this box myself.
Yeah.
You know? I quite like doing things for myself, but then if I am struggling, I do kind of like wish someone would offer to help, but I won't ask because I'm too proud.
I often find that I push myself too far. Like the last MCM, it was a very big MCM in October for Big Punch, and John and I went up the day before MCM started with a van full of stuff so that we could set up in advance and not have to set up on Friday morning. As it turned out, that was even better than usual because unfortunately Ali and Nick's car broke down on their way to London, which meant that we had to start Friday without them anyway. But I did end up, I really wanted to be like, I'm going to help, I'm going to lift the heavy boxes, I'm going to pull the trolleys around. I hurt my back
Oh, did you?
I
I didn't realise.
Yeah,
Oh.
like not badly, but badly enough that like by sort of the Sunday, Monday, I was like, oh yeah, I've got something bad going on in my back and shoulder, and that's purely my own pride for not admitting that I can't lift that kind of weight, and I can't.
It's when stuff like that happens that make you ask,
Yeah.
because I do a lot of lifting and it is exhausting, and you do get a bad back, and you're like, why am I doing this? I don't get paid enough to have a bad back.
Yeah.
If somebody can help me,
Yeah.
that would be great.
My job now involves sitting at a desk typing like all day, every day. So kind of relish the chance to do a bit of physical labour occasionally.
I'm the same. I think my muscles are wasting
Yeah.
a little bit. 'Cause other than netball, I just sit and degrade.
But yeah, Chris is a gentleman, and he always, gets things out of the car first and stuff, and without even asking, and helps and stuff. So
Aw.
that's my love for Chris.
Oh, that's nice.
I didn't want to go too soppy.
Yeah, we don't want to. You don't want to let his head get too big for this. Like,
Yeah.
Don't want him to end up like John.
Don't want to keep those egos under control. Like it just gets wild.
Just to clarify, John just has a physically big head.
Yeah,
He
it is a
doesn't have an
remarkably
ego.
big head.
Like, just to put it into perspective, we had some chef hats for our Big
Yeah.
Punch stand for Sandwich Masters, and the chef hats for me and Lucy went over our entire heads.
with my glasses on as well.
Yeah.
Like I could put my whole head inside.
Yeah,
that thing.
and then for John, it just about fit on his head. Like the elastic at the back was fully stretched to like
Oh,
maximum
no.
capacity.
I thought you were going to say he cut a slit in the back of it.
Yeah, not far off. Yeah. So yeah, he does just have a very big head.
I think it doesn't help that he has a lot of hair as well. Like,
does.
His
Yeah.
hair is very poofy.
It's very thick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wow. I'd like to get my scissors on that hair. Make a fine sculpture from it.
I think it has been known to eat razors. Like
Ooh.
it has been known to break. He goes to the same
Challenge accepted.
He goes to the same lovely Turkish gentleman that Nick goes to tame his mop, and yeah, it has been known to break clippers.
Oh my god.
I don't know what it's made of.
He needs to stop eating those iron filings.
Is his brother the same? Does he have the same trouble?
It's certainly there is certainly a sort of lock hair. I think one of the sort of a revelation that came recently is-
locks.
Yeah, locks. Like when John lets his hair grow out a bit, and he doesn't wash it too often because it's kind of thick. It doesn't really need it because it just kind of absorbs the atmosphere or something. I don't know. He gets curls. He actually has like curly hair.
Really?
You don't see it an awful lot because it has to get a bit longer to get curls. And I was like, where has that come from? Because I've met your family and none of your family have curly hair. And then his mum came to dinner once and she hadn't straightened her hair, and I didn't even realise she did straighten her hair.
Really?
And she has perfect corkscrew curls
Wow, I didn't
naturally.
know that.
And I'm just like, that's amazing. Why would you ever straighten that?
Yeah.
Chris's family are all curly, and they
Yeah.
all straighten their hair.
It's so weird though. Like I do it. I've done all kinds of weird stuff to my hair to try and make it curly.
Yeah,
Just like my
I
hair.
have curly hair.
My hair is so boring. It's like poker straight and thin. And the most interesting thing I've got about it at the moment is I've put some blonde in it so I can dye it pink. Like that's how I get interesting into my hair, because my hair is boring. And then like John's mum is like straightening out these perfect ringlets. And it's so bizarre.
This conversation is getting dangerously feminine.
Oh yeah, quite so, quite so.
Right, Lucy,
Yes.
love.
Well, my love is John again, keeping to the theme. And I love the way that John just does stuff without.
Is this the same as mine?
No,
Can you
not
be
quite
more
like.
specific?
It's like John decides he wants to do a thing. John decides he wants to write a comic book. John decides he wants to make a computer game. John decides he wants to have a moderately successful comedy podcast. Suddenly those things appear.
John decides he wants to let the ladies ruin
Yeah.
it all.
I love how he doesn't seem to give a moment's thought to anything ever going wrong. Not even that's like what could go wrong. He doesn't seem to even occur to him that something could go wrong. And he doesn't give a moment's thought to the amount of time that it will take, the amount of effort it will take. He just starts doing it, and then stuff appears, stuff happens, things are there. And it's astonishing to me because I have some anxiety issues, as many people do in the modern world, and I hardly ever get anything creative done because I'm constantly running this litany of all the reasons that it's going to go
Why
wrong,
not?
that it won't work, that I shouldn't do this, that I'm doing this wrong, blah, 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 blah. And I'm so busy thinking of all those reasons that I never actually get to do the thing. And so nothing ever happens. And John just doesn't have that. Like, he's probably sitting in there writing another script for something I haven't even heard of right now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
So that's my love. And I admire it greatly in him, and I see it in other people as well, and I'm more envious in other people, I think. So it's like, if it was just John, it would be like special, but the fact that loads of people can actually do it just means that I'm wrong somehow.
Is it hard to because I'm very similar, you know, Nick's very creative and I wish I was, but I just aren't.
Yeah.
Is it hard to live alongside that, or is it inspiring?
It can be a little intimidating at times. Like if I'm actually trying to sort of sit down and write something, because I want to be a writer. I've been wanting to be a writer since I was a little kid. And I've never really succeeded at finishing anything. I've started many, many things. I've never finished a single thing. And it can be a little intimidating when I know he's over there just bashing out the 6th volume of his like epic novel series.
Yeah.
And I'm barely getting like 1,000 words out of my head a week. Like,
the scary thing about finishing it is then you have to do something with it.
I guess I'd kind of like to just be able to finish something.
Yeah.
Though, like, and I have this argument with myself a lot. It's like, why don't you just do it? Like, it should be so easy, right? I could just go and sit at my computer table and start writing. I can't. I don't know why I can't.
You have to be in the right frame of mind. You can't just do it because you have time. You have to be in the right place mentally to be able to do it as well. But one of my colleagues has a phrase which I'm trying to take on board, because the reason I don't do creative stuff is because if it's not perfect, I won't accept it. Like, I'd rather not do a thing at all unless it's going to be perfect. But of course, if I haven't practiced, it's not going to be perfect. But his phrase is, good today is better than perfect tomorrow. And I'm trying to, because I do agree with that to some extent. Like, try your best, obviously, but you know, it's better to just get it out there, learn from what didn't work, and try again tomorrow, you know.
Yeah. I think it's weird because in my professional life, I now work for a software company, and we use a method of creating software called agile software development. This is going to, sorry, I'm trying to not get too technical here, but the idea of agile software development is it's better to get something out that's broken than to not have anything else at all.
Is this like the beta of games?
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's the reason that things like The Sims 4 are crap when they first come out these days, because everybody's using this methodology. And in a lot of ways, it works very well. It means one of the main problems with classical software development, as it was that technology now moves faster than that form of development can. It can take 2 or 3 years for you to go from concept to actually having any working software whatsoever. Whereas with the agile methodology, the idea is that's a couple of months. And when, like, Android are forcing you to update an app every, 2 or 3, every year, twice a year sometimes if they decide to release a couple of versions of Android, then you can't wait 2 or 3 years to go from concept to realization. So you have to shorten that timeline. And I'm okay with that in my professional life, that I will design and help through development something, because I'm not a coder. I do the bit that says, it should do this. Here you go, coder, make that into ones and zeros. I'm okay with knowing that something I designed will not be perfect when the customer sees it. But I can't do that outside. I can't do that in my personal life for some reason. I'm happy with it in my professional life. And I even sell it to customers that way. I'm like, it's better to get something out than nothing out. Yeah. So you think you're worried that this one little thing your users won't like, show it to them. Yeah. And then you'll know whether or not they like it. Because you might be surprised. They might not care. They might not even notice. Like, it's, it's, you can't predict people like that. And yeah, it's weird to me that I'm okay with it in my professional life, but can't pull it into my personal life yet. And yet John seems to have that mindset just absolutely pat down. It's like
I don't know if because what they say about being productive and stuff is obviously write a book is a massive job.
Yeah.
But if you break it down into smaller bits, like write 100 words, come up with a name, things like that. Maybe that's how John keeps motivated. Is he puts it down into bite-sized chunks. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah.
He always says that it's like training a muscle. And I'm like, great, except I've still got to be able to start.
Yeah.
But no, he's right. Of course, he's right because it's working for him.
'Cause he's
you know?
always right,
Yeah,
God
he's
damn
always
it.
right. Damn it. But yeah, it's you're right. It's that writing a screenplay is impossible, but
Yeah.
writing a single scene might be possible, or
Yeah.
deciding who your characters are, or
And especially with something creative, because it is so massive that, a film or a book or whatever, you have to think about it in smaller bits.
yeah. Yeah, I try, and I will continue trying because success is not stopping, which is another one of
Yes.
John's phrases.
Oh, he's just so wise.
Yeah,
Oh, damn it.
success is not stopping, but that doesn't mean you actually finish anything necessarily. You just keep starting things. In
Yeah.
my experience,
Eventually, one of them will
yeah.
bear fruit.
Oh
Hopefully,
yeah. Well, who
you
knows?
only need one of them to
Yeah.
catch on, and then you got a thing.
So yes, so that's my love.
Oh,
And we've gone all the way around the table.
we have.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, is this it?
I guess it is.
Well, what one?
Well,
Love or hate?
Oh,
Oh,
I
that's
think we
always a
love
hard-
them all, don't
yeah, kind of do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Men.
we? They're nice to hang out with.
might hate to admit it sometimes, but yeah, they're okay.
Despite the hate.
Yeah.
Despite everything.
Even though Chris can't do DIY, I can live with him.
Even though John makes that noise with his nose.
And even though Nick chug-a-lugs 10 tablets or however many it is. Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, I can list off a million more faults in myself than in Nick. So
Yes, yeah,
I count myself
True.
very lucky
Ditto.
that, that it's not him
Yeah.
complaining
That's
about me.
probably going to be next week. So,
Yeah, they'll be
um,
like, right, let's get him back.
So we're very sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love you.
We do.
Now make me a cup of tea.
Yeah. So I think we come down on love as one,
Yeah.
I think we have
Yeah.
to, yeah.
since we've still got them hanging around.
Yeah.
And, John's name's on the mortgage and everything, so I've kind of got to keep him around. But, I can't remember how this thing ends.
No.
Have we ever decided how this thing ends, or do we just keep talking until
don't
John
they
fades
just-
us out? I
yeah.
think it's just like you go.
Don't they
la,
try and
la,
come
la,
up with
la,
like a
la,
weird,
la.
like a catchphrase at the end?
I mean, do you have one? Do you want a catchphrase?
Oh, put myself on the spot there.
Yeah.
Go on, Ali. Take it away.
A man in the house is worth two in the tree.